Today is August 8th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we're going to continue our journey through Chapter 2, There's a Solution. We'll be reading the bottom of page 28 and 29 today, and actually, we will be finishing that chapter. And out of the 12 and 12, we just began Step 5 yesterday. We are going to be reading the second half of page 55. And of course, today we're going to read the August 8th Daily Reflection and 24 Hours a Day entry. So with that, I hope y'all are doing well this morning. We've been given a brand new set, once again, of 24 hours. What a gift it is just to be alive today. And if we're sober, oh man, it's like we're living in our own personal heaven. It's just great stuff. And speaking of great stuff, let's go ahead and get to our reading. There's a Solution, bottom of page 28, and again we're reading the rest of the chapter today. We think it no concern of ours what religious bodies our members identify themselves with as individuals. This should be an entirely personal affair, which each one decides for himself in the light of past associations, or his present choice. Not all of us join religious bodies, but most of us favor such memberships. In the following chapter, there appears an explanation of alcoholism, as we understand it, and then a chapter addressed to the agnostic. Many who were once in this class are now among our members. Surprisingly enough, we find such convictions no great obstacle to spiritual experience. Further on, clear-cut directions are given by showing how we have recovered. These are followed by 42 personal experiences. Each individual, in the personal stories, describes in his own language and from his own point of view the way that he's established his relationship with God. These give a fair cross-section of membership and a clear-cut idea of what has actually happened in their lives. We hope no one will consider these self-revealing accounts in bad taste. Our hope is that many alcoholic men and women, desperately in need, will see these pages, and we believe that it is only by fully disclosing ourselves and our problems that they will be persuaded to say, "Yes, I am one of them too. I must have this thing." Moving on over to the 12 and 12, we're on Step 5 today. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. We are reading the bottom paragraph of 55. So intense, though, is our fear and reluctance to do this, that many AAs at first try to bypass Step 5. We search for an easier way, which usually consists of the general and fairly painless admission that when drinking we were sometimes bad actors. Then, for good measure, we add dramatic descriptions of that part of our drinking behavior which our friends probably know about anyhow. But of the things which really bother and burn us, we say nothing. Certain distressing or humiliating memories, we tell ourselves, ought not be shared with anyone. These will remain our secret. Not a soul must ever know. We hope that they'll go to the grave with us. Daily Reflection, August 8th. Made a list. Made a list of all persons we had harmed. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 77. When I approached the 8th step, I wondered how I could list all the things that I had done to other people since there were so many people, and some of them weren't alive anymore. Some of the hurts I inflicted weren't bad, but they really bothered me. The main thing to see in this step was to become willing to do whatever I had to do to make these amends to the best of my ability at that particular time. So if I want to feel better, I need to unload the guilt feelings I have. A peaceful mind has no room for feelings of guilt. With the help of my higher power, If I am honest with myself, I can cleanse my mind of these feelings. "24 hours a day, August 8th. AA thought for the day. For a while, we are going back to the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, and pick out passages here and there so that they may become fixed in our minds, a little at a time, day by day as we go along. There is no substitute for reading the big book. It is our Bible. We should study it thoroughly and make it part of ourselves. We should not try to change any of it. Within its covers is the full exposition of the AA program. There is no substitute for it, and we should study it often. Have I studied the big book faithfully? Meditation for the day. All of life is a fluctuation between effort and rest. You need both every day. But effort is not truly effective until you first have had the proper preparation for it, by resting in a time of quiet meditation. This daily time of rest and meditation gives you the power necessary to make your best effort. There are days when you are called on for much effort, and then comes a time when you need much rest. It is not good to rest too long, and it is not good to carry on great effort too long without rest. The successful life is a proper balance between the two. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may be ready to make the proper effort. I pray that I may also recognize the need for relaxation. All right, my friends, so some great reading once again, man. You know what? Every day there's great reading. And no matter how many times I read these books, I always get something new out of it. It's just like the Bible. Anytime I could read the same passage one day and get something, and then the next day it's something, the same exact passage, it's something entirely different. And I feel that with these books as well. So at the end of There's a Solution, we get this beautiful kind of preview of what the rest of the book is in store for. First we get in the following chapter, there is an explanation of alcoholism. We're going to read a lot more about that and the allergy. Then there's a chapter for the agnostic. Then there's the clear-cut directions or suggestions or whatever you want to call them. And those would be the 12 steps and explained. And then we have our personal stories. And as we've read throughout the year, these personal stories, they're raw, but they're truthful. And the hope is that many alcoholic men and women, desperately in need, will see these pages and believe that it is only by fully disclosing ourselves and our problems that they'll be persuaded to say, yes, that I'm one of them too. I must have this thing. That we may see ourselves in some of these stories. That's what I was told early on. Look for the similarities. But it's crazy to think that these 12 suggestions or these clear-cut directions, they mainly came from medical professionals and the Oxford group. Silkworth kind of explained step 1. Dr. Jung explained the spiritual experience, that there must be a spiritual change. And steps 3 through 12 came from the Oxford groups. I came to these rooms to stop drinking, and somehow I've gained so much through the wisdom of what's talked about in the big book, which is just basically a summary of so many other great spiritual principles. I've gained so much. And I love the daily reflections for today. A peaceful mind has no room for feelings of guilt. That line alone just stands out to me. With the help of my higher power, if I am honest with myself, I can cleanse my mind of these feelings. I know for me, all the guilt and shame, oh man, I would punish myself over and over for things that I had done. And I was kind of living my own personal hell. And what has gotten me through that, and this is just me, is the 12 steps, particularly making the inventory in step 4, sharing that inventory and getting a second opinion about some of the things I was wrestling with in step 5, and then making those amends. And of course, step 8 and 9, making those amends. But then here's the thing. Once I've made those amends and I've prayed for forgiveness, and I'm trying to live a honest life of integrity now, I'm only punishing myself if I keep replaying that tape of guilt and shame for the things I've done. I heard somebody, a dear friend of mine, say, forgiveness is not letting somebody else off the hook, or even yourself necessarily, but it's by letting go of your own rocks that you've been carrying for so long. It might be a daily struggle, but don't pick them up again. If we pick up these bags of rocks again, we're torturing ourselves. Letting it go is not easy, but it can be done with a lot of practice. For me, it's daily letting go. When that thought strikes, I can give you an example. Say, leading up to my bottom, right before I decided I needed help and put down the drink, I had all my decisions caught up with me. And I was caught. I was confronted by my family. And I was very shameful for the things I'd done. So I go to some of the fellowships, and slowly but surely I learn about the program, and I start to do the steps with somebody much wiser than me, kind of guiding me through it. And now that I've done the steps, and I try to continue to do them, the lifetime steps, every now and then, those moments right before my bottom will come back, the shameful moments, right? And I can do one of two things. I can pick up that bag of rocks again and go, you know what? That's who I really am. I'm that snake in the grass. I'm that guy. Yeah, I'm not fooling anybody. I'm putting on this mask that I'm a good guy. It's just a matter of time before I do it again. I can do that. Or I can go, yeah, that's where alcohol took me. That's where I was. But I don't live there anymore. I'm forgiven and I am cleansed. And I'm being made whole each and every day. And just kind of smile at it. And I think for me, it's healthy that I still remember where I was, but also acknowledge where I am now and give all the glory to my higher power. And then sure enough, I'm inspired, I'm grateful, and I want to read more of the big book or be of use to somebody else, We don't live there anymore. But I have rambled on enough, guys. There was so much more I wanted to say about the 24 hours a day, but I'm sure you don't want to hear any more of my rambling. So guys, if you are sober today, you're a miracle. And if you're still white-knuckling or if you're still drinking, I encourage you, just like Dr. Jung said, to try something different today. You don't have to live in this bondage anymore. Today could be the first day of your new life. And trust me when I say that sobriety is infinitely better than the bondage of alcoholism. So with that, my friends, thank you for joining me in this lifeboat of recovery. And if we're given another day, another set of 24 hours, I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.